I hope that this conversation tonight, that you, the audience, have these conversations and have these conversations among yourselves, have these conversations with friends, with coworkers, and do exercises and think about everything, all the decisions that you've made thus far. Where was it coming from? Was it coming from a place of love, or was it coming from a place of fear? Because that's an important conversation to have. And Haim, also the parts that you're sharing here with us in this conversation, which I so love that you brought up. As far as the decisions that people make, where is it coming from a place of reasoning and logic? And what encourage them to make certain decisions on everyday lives and whatever, and who they're going to be interacting with and who they're not going to be interacting with. That's such an important distinction to make, because they're not coming from a place of love. And I remember, I'm going to share something with you also, that I saw this movie a long, long time ago, and it was this genie and his master, and had asked him. He asked for 3 wishes, and he gave him 3 wishes. And he asked for 2, and then he had 1 left. And then he got upset about something, and he made a wish. And once he made the 3rd wish, the genie would be able to go away and be free. And then once he made his wishes, he said, wait, I didn't mean to do that. So the genie starts laughing, this long laughter and so on. Mm-hmm. And he goes, let me explain something to you. When your brain speaks, it forgets, when your stomach speaks, it forgets your brain. When your brain speaks, it forgets your heart. But when your heart speaks, it forgets everything. Now, me being a psychologist, I can relate that to a certain extent, because it's talking about the superego, the ego, and the id. The id represents your primary needs. The id is about survival. Making sure that you have enough food, you have water, you're protected. You're the first one that you want to kill to protect yourself. Survival instincts. So that's the id. It's those primal instincts that you have for survival. The superego is your intelligence, your discretion, your reasoning, your morals, and so on, your ethics, and that's a superego. And then the ego is in between, where it's your heart, it's whatever. So, I always think of that. It's like when I'm making certain decisions, is what is making a decision for me? Is it coming from my stomach? Or is it coming from my head? Or is it coming from my heart? And I've done that a few times where, having this conversation, it reminds me of that. And I've done that throughout my life, where I've thought about that, and it's like, where is this coming from? And it's important to be aware of that, and every time you come into a situation, no matter how small, minute the decision may be, or how monumental it may be, and what are the ramifications of that every time you make those decisions. How is it impacting me? How is it impacting others around me? How is it impacting the world? For example, a leader of a nation, if he or she makes a decision based on fear in regards to a relationship with another nation, what is that going to mean? Or if he or she makes a decision based on love and compassion, how that interact with everybody. So I think it's a fascinating conversation that we should have with ourselves, but also with others. And don't be afraid to have it.
What you mentioned now, it's when you talk between nation, you don't see love over there. It's very rarely to see love. What you see, it's the decision, the process, is what I gain from that or what I lose from that. Then when it's come to now, between nation. When it's come between human being, it's a different story. Yeah. if
But
it-
nations are made of human beings.
Right, but there is belief that installed in human being according to the nation that you live on. If you come from certain country that you brainwash, your brain is washed. Now you do something because some religious tell you what to do. Yeah, you don't have, you don't use your logic, you don't use your common sense, you don't use your heart. You lose. He control your mind. Yeah, if he tell you go and have a suicide, yeah, go into the take airplane, hijack that, and go to the building. It's because I tell you to do that. This is a brainwash.
Right. But not all.
And not all, but it's very hard to find against something like that. Yeah? So to find some logic, common sense, and love, you're not going to find. It's
Well,
not there.
let's,
The point is, if you try to save the world, it starts with you.
of course it starts with you. It always starts with you.
You start to do that, you start to behave as a loving person, which is mean you all of a sudden you develop compassion and caring
Right.
for other. Yeah, you don't want to see them get hurt. You don't want to see them losing. You don't want to see them not doing well.
Right.
So you do in whatever in your power. That comes from love.
Right.
Yeah, most of the people don't behave that way. What they looking to gain benefit when they do that. So it's not love. It's hard to measure that.
All right. Well, let me use an example. And you're right. It's difficult when you run into a situation where somebody's ideology is to cause harm to the other, and But then you look at somebody like Gandhi, right? Gandhi used the premise of love and using love and peace and nonviolence and took a long time, but it overcame the British Empire, and eventually won. Long, arduous process, but it was possible. And those are the scenarios that I hope that society and people recognize that, again, love is the strongest force in the universe. Nelson Mandela was another example, Martin Luther King, and there's many, many others throughout the history of
Mother Teresa.
Yes, and there's many examples of many situations, scenarios like that, which obviously, is an arduous path to take, but obviously a path worth taking because it benefits everybody at the end. Where if it's the other way around, if we're ruled by fear, we all lose in one way or the other. And that's the thing. And, that's what I want to talk about here. And we're running out of time here for our show. Again, thank you for joining me in this conversation. Help me explore it. And again, I hope that you guys enjoy this episode. And please take it and utilize and have this conversation because it's an important conversation to have. Thank you, and until next time. My phone was ringing like off the hook, so I think it's my friend says.